Hi, my name is Dr. Lianne Urada. I'm an associate professor here in the School of Social Work at San Diego State University, and I will be sharing with you about the administration, community development, specialization, otherwise known as the macro specialization. So for the macro specialization, this is one where you would choose instead of the direct practice clinical specialization. And I will tell you with some of the differences between the two. So in the first year, the macro or the administration and community development specialization, as well as the direct practice specialization, everyone takes the same courses because as a social worker, really we're both micro and macro. We are working with individuals, groups, and communities and families, but in the context of larger societal issues, both on a policy level, a organizational level, community and sectoral level. So it's quite exciting actually to be a macro social work practitioner because you can not only affect change on those individual kind of client interactions, but also on a much broader level, changing policies, changing management, administration kind of tasks, really being thinking out of the box and trying to tackle the toughest problems on a much broader scale. However, in the first year, you do get both tracks, courses in both tracks, both the clinical direct practice content as well as the macro content, regardless of your specialization. So this makes you a well-rounded person who can be hired in virtually any type of setting after you graduate. The Therefore, because of this first generalist year, where even in your internships you're getting both direct practice and macro experience, you are able to actually be license eligible if that's even something you choose to do as a macro social work student. Um, so really, when you're making a choice between the two specializations, think about what it is you really want to do in your specialized advanced year, the second year. Okay. So in this first year, everyone again takes this macro course as well as policy courses, research courses. So these are all kind of the macro type courses. This Social Work 632, Organizations and Communities, it's offered in the spring semester of your generalist or first year if you're in the 2-year program, second year if you're in the 3-year program, and so on. And it focuses on community assessment and program planning. So really learning how to do needs assessments or strengths-based as community assessments, as well as actually planning for a program from the very beginning to the end. How do you come up with a new program? Okay. And then in the advanced year, really all of the concepts that you learn in your foundation year, you draw upon, and then you get to actually practice and learn skills and apply them. So in the advanced year, you'd be taking the management specific course and a civic engagement specific course, learning about how to apply the different kind of models, practice models, macro practice management and community models. You also will be taking policy and research course that everyone else is also taking um, that focuses on program evaluation. And then you actually have some elective courses, such as, and I'll go to the next page. This would be um, actually these two courses are your foundation advanced, your advanced year required courses. So social work management's 740, that would be administration management, budgeting, finance, strategic planning, program planning, evaluation, logic models, supervision, leadership, all of these that you learn. And then civic engagement, um, this course, we really focus on applying different kind of community change models, doing asset-based community development, but also there's a heavy emphasis on learning how to come up with the advocacy campaign and actually changing policy. It's really not as hard as one may think. Um, you can use collective impact and coalition type models, also grant writing for social change. So this is all exciting. Um, some of these you are and are not able to take as a direct practice specialization. So that's something to think about. You may have the elective choice or not to fit these in. And then there's research policy and electives. And again, I'm going to talk about the electives. So in the spring, you have this community organizing and problem solving course that really applies consensus organizing methods. We actually have a consensus organizing center here in the School of Social Work. And then there's also a leadership and organizational change course that is also very exciting to take as an elective, as well as others that can even be taken outside of the School of Social Work. There's also some courses, new courses within the School of Social Work, such as a homelessness one that I'll be teaching in the fall. In terms of macro type internships, so again, administration community development is a macro specialization. We use those terms interchangeably. But one of the real differences in your advanced year, if you specialize in macro, it's a type of setting and type of placement that you will have. Really, settings and placements could be the same across both specialization, but it's the type of role that you'll play. So you'll play a much more of a macro-oriented role as opposed to a one-on-one direct practice role. However, there is a percentage of time, if you really wanted to do some direct practice, you could still do so in your macro placement. Just that the majority of the time you will focus on macro type projects. And again, macro type projects, they can be anything from developing programs, overseeing programs, project management, could be grant writing, could be working in the county, such as behavioral health sciences or hospital social work, are doing macro type of work. So again, it can be something that is hybrid, but you can even develop some settings. So we have, for example, settings in the public library system where homelessness is a huge issue and a kind of a captured audience. People can actually work one-on-one, but also develop macro projects to address the issue. Some of my work is around addressing the opioid crisis. People are really dying on the streets around our public libraries. So we have placed the very first social work interns the last several years in that public library system. I also do a research project where we're testing out telehealth so that people can get their treatment for opioid use. We're testing them out at the library in partnership with Father Joe's Villages Health Center. So these are just some of the exciting projects that you can engage in terms of macro social work. People have graduated and become grant writers or leaders in the policy sector, policy-making sectors, working with legislators, or working in health administration, and just a lot of different settings that you can work in, and you'll be prepared to do so and really be a leader, manager, or an advocate for social change. So if you would like more information, because I know this was a very quick presentation, please feel free to reach out to me. I look at my emails every day. I'm Dr. Lianne Urada, the first one. LURADA@stsu.edu. I'm the chair of the macro subcommittee, but also my colleagues who are very passionate about macro social work, such as Dr. Lauren Wilner, soon to be Dr. Jennifer Cosio, and my other colleagues. Amanda Lee is the director of field education Professor Amanda Lee, also Steve Hornberger, who's the director of the Social Policy Institute, was also a really big macro systems change instructor in our macro specialization. So please feel free to reach out to us for more information, especially if you're trying to decide on that specialization and go for the macro specialization. Thank you very much.